What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another brand new league racing video here today. We're back once again on F1 2020 here today for the start of another new series on the channel. We're back to season 2 of the Transnation eSports F2 series. If you watched any of the videos late on in season 1, you would know that the season was mainly dominated by myself and Mackenzie Stewart. Be interesting to see if that's still the case on this year's game. A few of us had only done about 15 minutes worth of practice before we actually jumped into this lobby, so I don't think there was anyone in particular who was really too confident. I certainly wasn't. We have 5 preset setups to choose from. I've just gone with balanced, as that actually felt like the best one. Now, a few noticeable changes. Number one, we have switched over from UNI over to Carlin now. I'll be brutally honest, I did that mainly just so I could run the number one. I mean, let's be fair. But anyway, away for a one-shot quali lap now. And this lap was reasonably good, if I'm brutally honest. It wasn't great, there was a few mistakes. As you can see in turn 1, we went a little bit deep, but we're going okay for the moment. Pretty decent first sector, 31.3 I think that is. That is, well, it's purple, so I don't know, I'll go out on a limb and say we are still P1. So we're looking good at the moment. Now, format regards this series, it's all the same as last season, so one-shot quali, 250% races, a feature on the sprint, and I think that's the way it goes. We are still P1 apparently, so we're looking good for the moment. We've just got to get through these last few corners. Not going to lie, this long right-hander coming up here was really catching me out in practice. I actually spun here twice. We get really close to that curb, but don't touch it. Another solid middle sector as long as we can get through these final 2 corners, but we get a snap of oversteer just after the apex. We run a little bit too wide, and our lap has been invalidated. Oh my god, okay. So that didn't really go the way we had it planned at all. As you can see, we'll come across the line, and I think my lap time would have actually gotten me P2 on track. So we were on for a front row start. You can see there our old mate Mackenzie Stewart looks like he's going to line up second row of the grid in P4. So interesting to see what are the results. So Addy takes pole position for the BWT Arden squad, followed by Josh, Bo, Mackenzie, Ken, Robin, Speedy, TP, Harry and Mason rounding out the top 10. So interesting lineup there, it must be said. I think we're the only one who actually invalidated their lap, so yeah, that's a little bit embarrassing in a way, isn't it? But anyway, on to the very first race now. We're going to go for the alternate strategy, start on the mediums. Hopefully this can pay off later on. Probably going to be a bit of chaos, to be fair. First race of the season, no one knows what to expect or how these cars handle, but try and keep our nose clean and see what happens.
Okay, go through all the gears if you can. We need to make sure the engagement is okay before the start. We're going to want to put some temperature into the tyres and brakes. We need to keep the engine cool though, so don't go too high with the revs.
Alright, thank you boss, but away we go for the formation lap now. Yeah, we definitely got our work cut out for us. Obviously, as I said, coming into this, the maximum any of us have probably done in terms of practice is probably like 30 minutes. Where the likes of Josh, Mackenzie, myself, 2 or 3 others, we probably did about 15 minutes of practice in a lobby together before we actually come and did this race proper. So we're coming into this a little bit blind, I will be honest. No one has done any race practice as far as I'm aware. I haven't even touched the F2 cars until like 30 minutes before this race. So I'm coming in a tad bit blind, I will be honest, but same for everybody. Apparently the starts are quite a bit different on this year. on 2020 as well. You can't just floor it, so it'd be interesting to see how that feels and how that all works.
the rest of the...
Alright, Jeff abruptly cut off, you'll have to see it. Now at this point, we were actually all sitting here thinking that Tansley had actually broken the lobby. As you can see there, we're actually sitting there and we're just waiting on him. His connection was really not the best, I have to be brutally honest with you guys. Made things quite tricky in the first portion of the race. But anyway, here we go. Awaiting 5 red lights for round 1 of season 2. And away we go here at Bahrain. Looks like a pretty decent launch. Initially, Brett goes absolutely nowhere. Same for Harry, so we're going to look at the inside of both of them. 3-4 wide in front of us down into turn 1. And we've been hit massively up the rear there, sent backwards into the field into T1. And I'll be brutally honest, I think the prime culprit was right there in that orange car in shot. He was the only one actually behind me, and I've watched all the POVs that I can get a hold of, and yeah, Tansley was the only one actually directly behind me coming into turn 1 there. So we have just been sent by the MP Motorsport driver. I think that's what he's in. Yeah, anyway, so that's not a good start for the reigning champion. That's not how you want to try and get your title defence off to the best of starts. Ironically, 4 corners after he dumped us, Tansley actually spun out. A couple of corners later, Ken Doyle has now spun out. So yeah, everybody seemingly struggling to actually keep these cars pointed in the right direction. As you can see, Addy and Bo, they've started on the soft, so they're trying to bolt. Those two have actually got really good pace, surprisingly. They actually really caught all of us off guard. But anyway, everyone behind them, I think, is on the mediums, apart from TP, who also has binned it now. So that's 3 cars that we've passed without having to put in any effort. As looks like we've got Robin trying to have a look on Brett. Will he try and go for the move into the final corner? He looks, he thinks about it, but it looks like he's locked the rears and he's left us nowhere to go. Oh, great.
VSC deployed. The virtual safety car has been deployed. We need to keep a positive delta here. Slow down, maintain a positive delta.
And how ironic is that about 2 seconds after we have a clash with Robin, the virtual safety car is deployed here in the desert. And, well, we're really just not having any luck in this first race, are we? We get absolutely murdered into turn 1, lap 1. Then Robin bins it at the final corner on lap 2 and basically just leaves us nowhere to go. So we're really just, we can't catch a break at the moment, and we're only 3 laps into this race as well. So for basically two and a bit laps worth of racing, there's been quite a lot of action. Also worth noting that we're actually back up in the top 10 now, and right outside the fringes of scoring points. I think you've got Harry, Mason and Brett just up there ahead of us. There's 3-4 cars up there actually, about 3 seconds up the road. So yeah, at this point in time it was a case of get the hammer down, try chase after him, and yeah, try and make some moves at some point if we can. Tansley's now left the session, so yeah, maybe his connection finally give up on him. But anyway, looks like we've got a bit of scrapping going on ahead of us. Brett has managed to work his way through these two. Harry maintains P7, Mason P8, and now we're going to try and make a move on some of these guys if we can. I think Mason is actually just going to let me go here, as we were all in a party together and basically just said that he wasn't going to fight me. So we send it up the inside at the end of the back straight, and that is up into P8. Next up is Harry in the Prema. Jeff interrupting again at the worst possible time, but on the front straight, start of lap 5, DRS enabled up the inside of the Prema driver, and we get that move done. That's up to P7, and we are now back in the points. No idea how we've managed that, to be honest, but we have. And yeah, that's well, I'm honestly just, I don't know what to say, but anyway, back straight, lap 5, we're now making a move on Brett. His soft's starting to die off probably a little bit, I wouldn't be too surprised. So he's starting to struggle a little bit, so we got the move done on the Arden Racing driver there pretty quickly. And now all the way on to lap 8, we have reeled in about a 7-second margin to our very own teammate of Speedy here, a fellow Carlin driver. A bit like Mason, just said he wasn't going to fight me, and it just, it doesn't give up the spot, but doesn't make it unnecessarily hard for us to get through there, as it really wouldn't have done either of us any good. I mean, he's effectively fighting for P5, P6, where I'm still trying to hunt these guys down to see if I can somehow score a podium. But anyway, Addy, fastest lap of the race, I think that was a 41.7 or something on new mediums. We're actually lapping about a 10 to 2/10 a lap slower on 10 lap old mediums, so our race pace actually does seem pretty good, and honestly I just wonder what we could have done if we hadn't have been taken out at the start. But anyway, it's all if buts and what ifs now. Yeah, we're just trying to make the best of a bad situation. So in the pits at the end of lap 11 for a set of soft tyres. These should easily take us to the end. I think Mackenzie stopped last lap as well. Yes, he did. You can see him go through on the mini-map. He overtakes Josh as well. That is the effective scrap for third and fourth. Now, worth noting that by the time I actually got up to Joe and could actually see the gap to Mackenzie and Josh, Joe is Speedy, by the way, for anybody wondering, so he's our teammate for this season. The gap was about 11 odd seconds. I think it was actually 12 seconds to Mackenzie. And as you can see now, onto the end of lap 13, Mac has set the fastest lap of the race. We obliterate that with a mid 140, and I think we actually go even quicker next time around as well. And as you can see, the gap is about 7.5 seconds from basically being at 12. So we have reeled him in by almost 5 seconds over this race. And the further we get into it, the more this is playing into our hands, because Mackenzie has actually overtaken Bo now, and I think he's starting to struggle on these mediums. He does actually have some time penalties as well. I think it's 3 seconds. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard at the point in time when I asked. But anyway, on to the end of the race. Addy takes the win. Very impressive drive from him there. Macca will come home P2, Josh P3. Do we snag P4? Yes, we do. So Bo must have had about 6 or 9 seconds worth of time penalties. And we take the first position off the podium. It's weird phrasing, but anyway. P4, very solid comeback drive from facing the wrong way. Driver of the day as well. So all in all, pretty good recovery from that dreadful start. Alright, so there we go guys. The feature race is done and dusted here at Bahrain. We do get the 2 extra points for fastest lap, and I can say now that does prove crucial come the end of the sprint race. But anyway, speaking of the sprint race, we'll head over to that now. Starting P5 on the grid, no stop obviously. What is it, 12 lap race. Mediums easily make it to the end. And I can say as well, we do have a few VSCs, so that does make everybody's life a little bit easier.
Clutch bite is good, gearbox is responding normally. Make sure to warm up the tyres and brakes. Warm the tyres and brakes throughout the lap.
Alright, thanks Jeff. I think I still know how to do a formation lap. I've done it enough times now where I think we know what we're doing, but anyway, away we go. And I think the running order, I can't quite see who's up the front. I'm pretty sure it was Brett on pole position. I know it's Joe in P3, Bo P4. I can't quite tell who's up there in second. I'm sure I'll see and figure it out eventually. Josh and Mackenzie right behind us, so that'll be interesting. 2 big guns right up our backside, so it'll be interesting to see if we can actually hold those guys at bay. I'll be brutally honest with you guys, I was actually confident we could win this race. I felt like my race pace was very good, and I felt like if we could get a good start, then we can actually try and win this race. So, I don't know, we'll see what happens, but I think we can definitely do it.
Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid has formed. Be ready with the clutch.
Alright, we are ready and waiting to roll there, boss. Welcome guys to the grid of race 2, sprint race here at Bahrain. 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go. Looks like a pretty average launch, it must be said. Bo just fires off the line there. Team Doyle goes absolutely nowhere. We're going to try and look at the inside of our teammate down into turn 1. Crucial we get this done. Brett getting all sideways and out of whack there at in the middle of turn 1, and we are now right under the rear wing. We actually give him a little tap there as we exit turns 2 and 3 up to turn 4 now. Are we going to try? We thought about looking for a move, but Brett, very good defending there. Hangs on to P2 for the time being. Joe's still behind us in P4, Addy P5, but we've got to try and get past Brett here as quick as we can. We're going to go for a send down in the left right end, and we lock the front right there horribly.
Let's keep it up.
Yeah, okay, great start. Yeah, apologies Brett for that. I did actually apologise to him in the party when that actually happened, but he was all good with it, so you know, no dramas, no worries there. But anyway, we cleared Brett, and quite quickly we were able to bridge a gap to all of those guys, and now we have reeled in Bo very quickly, and this is going to be our chance to you know, to stamp our name on the winners list, and more importantly, you know, minimise the damage from that first race. Really, if anything, I know finishing in 4th, you know, sounds like a good result when it is, but judging by the race pace we're showing at the moment, we definitely could have tried to fight Addy for the win. Speaking of fighting for the win, that's exactly what we're doing with Bo right now. Down into turn 1, we're going to send it down the inside. He tries to look for the cutback, I'm guessing, but no way through, and we take the lead here at Bahrain. The Smegger's left the session, that's a tad bit awkward.
Safety car deployed. The safety car has been deployed. Watch your delta. Make sure you keep it positive as we catch the pack.
So we got that move done at the perfect time there, as a safety car has now been deployed here in the sprint race. I think that's TP, who has crashed or retired somewhere, somehow. So the safety car is out. This will probably be, I think it's 2-3 laps from memory. So gave us a chance to all cool off and you know, think about how we wanted to play this restart. I already knew exactly what I was going to do and the way that I was going to play it, and that's exactly what you're seeing right now. Safety car is in this lap. It's the end of lap 6, and just as we come out of the final corner, we lay the boot into it, and away we go. Green flags back in the air here at Bahrain for the sprint race. We've timed that fairly well. We've got about half a second to Bo, who in turn has got just over a second to Addy. I think they're actually 3 wide behind, as well, that sounds like what was going on at the point in time. Mackenzie makes a 3 wide overtake to get by Addy and Josh. Very impressive move there. I don't think Josh was actually too impressed for one reason or another. Might have been a bit of contact made, I'm not too sure. But anyway, on to the end of lap 7, and with clean air, I knew this was the time that, you know, we had to push. We set a fastest lap of the race. I decided to try and actually go for it again, but as you can see, the virtual safety car now came out. So we had one in the feature, now we've got one in the sprint, but luckily that did disappear quite quickly. I'm not even sure what that was for, to be brutally honest. But anyway, on to lap 11. Mackenzie and Addy are having a right royal scrap as far as I can tell. But in terms of our race, yeah, things were pretty calm and eventful for us. As I said, we had clean air, and it was a case of just pushing as hard as I could onto the final lap now. As you can see, we've got a gap of about 2.7 seconds to Bo behind. who in turn has got about 2.5 back to Macca, and Josh. Ken Doyle is in P5. I'm not too sure what has happened to Addy in the last lap and a half. I think him and Josh might have had it coming together from what I overheard in the party. Sounds like they might have been side by side, and Addy's just dropped it on an exit curve. Easy to do, obviously, especially in these cars on this year's game. Back end is a lot more sensitive, so you really can't just lay your boot into it like you could on 2019. But anyway, we have managed to avoid all the chaos and any stupid mistakes here in the sprint race. And it looks like, I don't want to commentator's curse myself just yet, or commentator's curse I should say, but it looks like we are home and dry to win the sprint race. Gap 3.1 for Bo now, 3.2 actually. We are pushing on this final lap, as I knew one or two guys that actually come in and we're actually going to try and go for fastest lap. So I actually put the hammer down on this final lap to try and set the quickest lap I could en route to victory, to try and make sure that we could score the maximum amount of points, and it looks like that's exactly what we're going to do. Out of the final corner, been a great race from us here in the sprint race, and we take the win here at Bahrain, fastest lap to boot by 0.3, 140.6, and that is a great way to end off the race here at Bahrain. First one didn't quite go to plan, but the second one, that was redemption. Okay, so there we go guys. First race of the TNF1 F2 series is done and dusted. As you can see, we win the round by 1 point over Addy. So very, very close between the top 4 really, to be honest. So looking forward to the rest of the season. But anyway, that's going to do it from me today guys. If you enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. TNF1 Nationals, usual time, 8 o'clock in the morning. So tune in for that. But until then, I hope you're all well, stay safe, and I'll see you all later.